Captain Lee Dong-woo stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship Incheon, watching the massive alien ships appear in the space above Earth. The enemy fleet was huge. Hundreds of dark metal ships hung in the black void like angry storm clouds. Each ship was 3 times bigger than anything humans had ever built. "Sir, we're getting signals from all over the planet," said Lieutenant Park So-young from her station. "Every nation is asking what we should do." Lee Dong-woo kept his eyes on the alien fleet. He had been preparing for this day for 10 years, ever since Earth's deep space sensors first detected signs of alien civilization. The governments of Earth had finally worked together to build a defense force, and now they would see if it was enough. "Get me Admiral Park Ji-won," he said calmly. On the other side of Earth, Admiral Park Ji-won was in the underground command center in Seoul. She was looking at the same scary sight on her screens. The alien ships were so big they blocked out stars. Her staff was busy collecting information from satellites and ground stations. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission," reported Major Kim Tae-ho. "It's coming from the largest alien ship." "Put it on the main screen," Park Ji-won ordered. The screen showed a creature that looked like a giant lizard walking on 2 legs. Its skin was dark green with yellow stripes. Its eyes were red and cold. When it spoke, the computer translated its words into Korean and English. "I am War Commander Thekmar of the Vorthok Empire," the creature said. Its voice was deep and threatening. "We represent the galactic hegemony. Your world has been selected for integration into our empire." Dr. Kim Hae-rin, Earth's top expert on alien life, watched from her station in the command center. She had studied the radio signals from space for years, trying to understand how aliens might think. Now she was seeing one for the first time. "We have conquered over 200 worlds," Thekmar continued. "Our process is simple and fair. You have 72 hours to surrender completely. Your weapons will be destroyed. Your governments will be dissolved. Your people will serve the empire. If you refuse, we will destroy your world completely." The transmission ended. The command center was silent for a moment. Everyone looked at Admiral Park Ji-won. "Well," she said quietly, "that was rude." Major Kim Tae-ho almost smiled despite the situation. "Admiral, what are your orders?" Park Ji-won thought for a moment. She had read the reports about what these aliens had done to other worlds. They came with overwhelming force and demanded surrender. Most planets gave up immediately when they saw the size of the alien fleet. "Open a channel to their flagship," she said. "Admiral, are you sure?" asked Dr. Kim Hae-rin. "Maybe we should talk to the other world leaders first." "I've already talked to them," Park Ji-won replied. "We all agreed on what to say if this day came." The screen showed War Commander Thekmar again. He looked surprised that the humans were responding so quickly. Most species took much longer to accept their fate. "We have received your message," Admiral Park Ji-won said in a clear, calm voice. "We decline your offer. Please leave our system immediately." Thekmar's red eyes went wide. He looked confused. "You decline? I do not understand this word in this context." "It means no," Park Ji-won explained. "We will not surrender. We will not serve your empire. We want you to go away." "This is not possible," Thekmar said, shaking his large head. "All species surrender when they see our fleet." "You are clearly primitive. You have no choice." "We are primitive compared to you," Park Ji-won agreed. "But we still choose to be free." Dr. Kim Hae-rin stepped forward. "War Commander, perhaps there has been a translation error. My name is Dr. Kim Hae-rin. I study alien cultures. Can you explain why you think all species must serve your empire?" Thekmar looked even more confused. "Because we are stronger. The strong rule the weak. This is the natural order of the galaxy. On our world we have a different idea," Dr. Kim Hae-rin said. "We believe people should be free to choose their own path. We call this independence." "Independence?" Thekmar repeated the word like it tasted bad. "You mean chaos. Without strong leadership there is only war and suffering." "Sometimes," Dr. Kim Hae-rin admitted, "but we prefer our own wars to someone else's peace." Back on the Incheon, Captain Lee Dong-woo was listening to the conversation with his crew. Commander Choi Byung-ho, head of Earth Special Operations, stood beside him. "Sir, they really don't understand," Commander Choi said quietly. "Look at their body language. They're not angry or threatening anymore. They're just confused." Lee Dong-woo nodded. "They've probably never met anyone who said no before." On the alien flagship, Thekmar was talking to his officers in their own language. The humans could not understand what they were saying, but their translator computers picked up some words: impossible, error, and unprecedented. Finally, Thecamar spoke to the humans again. "We will send a delegation to your world. You will speak with our diplomats. They will explain why resistance is futile." "You are welcome to send diplomats," Admiral Park Ji-won replied, "but understand that our answer will not change." "We shall see," Thecmar said and ended the transmission. In the command center, everyone started talking at once. Dr. Kim Hae-rin was excited. "This is amazing. They've never encountered resistance before. Look how confused they were." Major Kim Tae-ho was less optimistic. "Admiral, they have hundreds of ships. We have maybe 50 that can fight in space. If they attack, they will attack," Admiral Park Ji-won said firmly. "The question is when and how." "Commander Choi, are your people ready?" Commander Choi Byung-ho smiled. "We've been ready for 10 years, Admiral. Every major city has been evacuated to the underground shelters. The fake cities are in place. And the surprises we've prepared?" He shook his head. "These aliens are going to learn something new about humans." Dr. Kim Hae-rin was still studying the recordings of the alien commander. "I don't think they understand war the way we do. They're used to winning by showing up with big ships. They expect surrender, not fighting." "Then they picked the wrong planet," Admiral Park Ji-won said. "Humanity has been fighting wars for thousands of years. We've gotten very good at it." 3 hours later, an alien shuttle approached Earth. It was escorted by human fighters to a landing site in Switzerland, where representatives from every nation on Earth waited. The alien delegation was led by a Vorthak called Diplomat Veltar. He was smaller than Thecamar but just as lizard-like. With him came experts in conquest and administration. The meeting took place in a large room with humans on one side and aliens on the other. Veltar began with a presentation showing how the Vorthak Empire worked. He showed images of conquered worlds where alien species worked in mines and factories. "As you can see," Veltar explained, "integration into the empire brings order and purpose. Your people will have jobs. There will be no more wars between your nations. No more suffering from independence." President Ryu Jae-sung of Korea spoke for Earth. "We appreciate your offer, but we must refuse. Humans value freedom more than safety." "This is illogical," Veltar replied. "Freedom leads to conflict. Conflict leads to death. Service to the Empire brings peace." "Whose peace?" asked President Chen Wei-ming of the Earth Federation. "You speak of ending our wars, but you wage war against entire worlds." Veltar looked confused again. "That is different. We bring order to chaos. We civilize primitive species." Dr. Kim Hae-rin leaned forward. "War Commander Thecmar said you have conquered over 200 species. Did any of them want to be conquered?" "Want is irrelevant," Veltar said. "Children do not want to obey their parents, but parents know what is best." "We are not children," President Ryu said firmly. "We are a free people, and we choose to remain free." The meeting continued for hours, but neither side changed their position. The aliens could not understand why humans would choose dangerous freedom over safe slavery. The humans could not understand why anyone would give up their right to choose their own destiny. As the alien delegation prepared to leave, Veltar made one final offer. "We will extend your time limit to 1 week. Consider carefully. Your choice is simple. Serve the Empire and live, or resist and die." "Our choice is already made," Admiral Park Ji-won replied. "We choose to be free." After the aliens left, the human leaders met in private. They knew what was coming. The alien fleet would attack, probably soon. Earth's defenses were ready, but they were greatly outnumbered. "Are we making the right choice?" asked President Martinez of South America. "Maybe we should think about their offer. Would you rather live on your knees or die on your feet?" President Ryu asked. "I'd rather live on my feet," President Martinez replied with a smile. "I was just checking to make sure we all agreed." They did agree. Humanity would fight. The week passed quickly. Earth's governments used every hour to prepare for war. Military forces moved to hidden positions. Civilians went deeper into underground shelters. The alien fleet waited in space, silent and threatening. On the 7th day, War Commander Thecmar sent a final message to Earth. "Your time is finished. We will now demonstrate the price of resistance. All other species have learned this lesson. Now you will learn it too." Admiral Park Ji-won watched from the command center as the alien ships began to move. Their target was clear: New Tokyo, one of Earth's largest cities. At least that's what the aliens thought. Sir, they're heading for the decoy city, reported Major Kim Tae-ho. All systems are active and ready. New Tokyo looked exactly like a real city from space. It had lights, heat signatures, and even fake radio traffic. But no people lived there anymore. The real New Tokyo was built underground, far from the false city above. Colonel Nam-gisu commanded the ground forces around the fake city. His soldiers were hidden in bunkers and caves nearby. They watched as alien ships descended through the atmosphere like falling stars. Remember, Colonel Nam told his troops over the radio, let them hit the city first. We need to see what their weapons can do. The alien attack was impressive and terrible. Bright energy beams shot down from the sky and turned buildings into dust. The fake city was destroyed in minutes. The aliens had enough firepower to kill millions of people, but they had killed no one. The city was empty. Phase 1 complete, Colonel Nam reported to Admiral Park. The enemy has revealed their weapons. No human casualties. War Commander Thekmar was satisfied. This demonstration had worked on every other world. Now the humans would see their helplessness and surrender. Instead, he received a message from Admiral Park Ji-won. Thank you for the demonstration. We have learned much about your weapons. Now please observe ours. Thekmar was confused until his sensors detected movement around Earth. Small human ships were rising from hidden bases all over the planet. They moved in patterns he had never seen before. Lieutenant Yoon So-ra was one of the fighter pilots. She flew a new type of Earthship called a Falcon. It was much smaller than alien fighters, but it could move in ways that seemed impossible. Blue Squadron, this is Blue Leader, she said into her radio. Target the destroyer above the Pacific. Remember, they don't know how we fight. Her squadron of 12 fighters attacked the alien destroyer. The Vorthak pilots expected the humans to fly in straight lines and use simple tactics. Instead, the human fighters moved like dancers, spinning and diving in 3 dimensions. The alien gunners could not track them. Human weapons were weaker than alien weapons, but they hit their targets while alien shots missed completely. What is this? Demanded the Vorthak destroyer captain. How do they move like that? His ship's computer tried to predict where the human fighters would go next, but humans did not fly in predictable patterns. They changed direction without warning, attacked from impossible angles, and seemed to enjoy the danger. Lieutenant Yoon So-ra's wingman, Lieutenant Kang Min-ho, was hit by an alien energy beam. His fighter exploded in a ball of fire. Instead of retreating, Yoon So-ra became angry. The aliens had seen other species become afraid when their friends died. But humans became more dangerous when they were angry. Min-ho, she screamed over the radio. You killed Min-ho! She turned her fighter toward the destroyer and accelerated at full speed. The alien captain watched in horror as the small human ship flew straight at his bridge. She's going to ram us, he shouted. All guns, stop her! But Yoon So-ra was flying too fast and too erratically. At the last second, she fired all her missiles at point-blank range and then spun her fighter away. The missiles punched through the destroyer's shields and exploded inside the hull. The great alien ship began to break apart. Yoon So-ra had somehow survived her suicide attack. Blue Leader to Blue Squadron, she said calmly. Target destroyed. Who's next? The alien fleet was in chaos. No species had ever fought back like this. The humans were outnumbered and outgunned, but they acted like they were winning. Major Lim Jun-ho was watching the battle from the intelligence center. He had studied every alien battle recording they could find. Admiral, they're confused. Look at their formations. They don't know how to fight an enemy that attacks back. Admiral Park Ji-won nodded. They're used to shooting at helpless targets. They've never had a real space battle. On the alien flagship, War Commander Thekmar was getting reports that made no sense. How many human ships have we destroyed? He demanded. 17 confirmed kills, sir, reported his tactical officer. But we have lost 3 destroyers and 7 fighters. That is impossible, Thekmar roared. They are primitive. They should not be able to hurt us at all. His science officer, a nervous Vorthak named Krelnok, spoke carefully. Sir, I believe we misunderstood these humans. They do not fight to survive. They fight to win. Explain, Thekmar ordered. When other species see our fleet, they surrender because they know they cannot win, Krelnok said. But humans seem to believe they can win even when outnumbered. This makes them unpredictable. Another explosion rocked the flagship as human fighters attacked its escort ships. Through the viewports, They could see small Earth vessels darting between the massive Vorthak ships like angry insects. Captain Lee Dongwu was leading the attack with the Incheon and 5 other Earth cruisers. His ships were much smaller than the alien vessels, but they had one advantage. They were designed to fight other human ships. Human military technology was built for fighting enemies who could think, adapt, and surprise you. Alien technology was built for conquering helpless primitives. "Sir, alien cruiser dead ahead," reported his weapons officer, Lieutenant Che Yunji. "They're trying to lock onto us with their main guns." "Don't let them," Lee Dongwu replied. "Random evasive pattern Delta, keep us moving." The Incheon began to twist and turn as it approached the alien ship. The Vorthak cruiser's massive guns tried to track the smaller ship, but the human vessel kept changing direction. "They can't hit what they can't predict," Lee Dongwu explained to his crew. "Their computers expect logical movement." "We're not being logical." The human ship got close enough to fire its weapons directly into the alien vessel's hull. The damage was not enough to destroy the bigger ship, but it was enough to hurt it. "Sir, we're getting a transmission from the alien ship," reported Lieutenant Park So-young. "They want to talk." "Put them on screen," Lee Dongwu said. The alien captain appeared on the screen. He looked angry and confused. "Human vessel, your attacks are meaningless. Surrender now and we will spare your crew." "Counteroffer," Lee Dongwu replied. "You surrender and we'll let you go home." The alien captain was speechless. "You cannot be serious. We have hundreds of ships." "And we have home field advantage," Lee Dongwu said with a smile. "Plus we're really good at this." The battle continued for 6 hours. The aliens had more ships and better weapons, but the humans had something the aliens had never faced: experience fighting real wars. Every human pilot, every ship captain, every gunner had trained for years to fight enemies who would fight back. They knew how to use speed instead of armor, cunning instead of brute force, and anger instead of fear. As the hours passed, the alien fleet began to retreat toward the edge of Earth's solar system. They had lost dozens of ships while the humans had lost only a few. "This is not possible," War Commander Tekmar said as he watched his fleet pull back. "We are the Vorthak Empire. We do not retreat from primitives." "Sir," his tactical officer said quietly, "these are not ordinary primitives. They fight like us, but better." Tekmar turned to stare at his officer. "What do you mean?" "Sir, we fight to conquer. They fight to survive. When you fight to survive, you fight harder." In the command center on Earth, Admiral Park Ji-won watched the alien fleet retreat. Her staff was cheering, but she remained serious. "Don't celebrate yet," she warned. "This was just their first attack. They'll be back and they'll be ready for us next time." Commander Choi Byung-ho approached her. "Admiral, we captured some alien escape pods. The prisoners want to talk." "Bring them in," Park Ji-won ordered. "Let's see what we can learn." The captured Vorthak were brought to the command center in restraints. They looked terrified, which surprised the humans. These aliens had seemed so confident before. "Why are you afraid?" Dr. Kim Hae-rin asked them through the translator. "We're not going to hurt you." The lead prisoner, a young Vorthak officer named Tek Lin, spoke nervously. You fight like demons." "No species has ever. We were told you were primitive." "We are primitive compared to your technology," Dr. Kim Hae-rin agreed. "But we've been fighting wars for thousands of years." "What about your people?" "We fight to conquer," Tek Lin replied. "We attack worlds that cannot defend themselves." "We have never fought a real war." The humans looked at each other in amazement. The mighty Vorthak Empire had never actually fought anyone who could fight back. "How many species in your empire actually wanted to join?" asked Admiral Park Ji-won. "None," Tek Lin admitted. "All were conquered. All surrendered when they saw our fleet." "Then you're not really an empire," Admiral Park Ji-won realized. "You're just bullies with big ships." The alien prisoners nodded sadly. It was true. 3 months after the first battle, the Vorthak Empire sent their best minds to study the human problem. War Commander Thekmar was replaced by Strategic Commander Vekthal, who specialized in difficult conquests. The new alien commander brought more ships, better weapons, and expert tacticians. He also brought scientists to study human behavior. "We underestimated these creatures," Vekthal told his staff on the massive command ship Dominator. "They do not think like civilized species. We must learn their weaknesses." On Earth, humans were also learning. General Bae Sung-min, Earth's master strategist, studied every piece of captured alien technology. His team of engineers worked day and night to understand Vorthak weapons and shields. The aliens have better technology than us, General Bay explained to his staff, but they use it poorly. They design everything for fighting enemies who cannot fight back. Tech specialist Quan Deho was leading the reverse engineering project. He was young but brilliant, and he had made an important discovery. "General, look at this," Quan said, showing him an alien energy weapon. "This gun is very powerful, but it only works one way. It cannot adapt or change. Our weapons are weaker, but they can be modified during battle." "Show me," General Bay ordered. Quan demonstrated with a human plasma rifle. "Watch this. I can change the power level, the beam width, and the firing rate in real time. The alien gun fires the same way every time." General Bay smiled. "So their strength is also their weakness. They're so used to overwhelming force that they never learn to adapt." Meanwhile, Captain Oh Yoon-jung was preparing for the most dangerous mission of her life. She was going to sneak onto an alien ship and steal their tactical computers. Captain Oh was small and fast, perfect for special operations. She had trained for years in zero-gravity combat and alien technology. Now she would put that training to the ultimate test. "The target is a Vorthak supply ship," she explained to her team. "It's smaller than their warships, but it contains detailed information about their empire. We need that data." Her team consisted of 5 other Special Forces soldiers: Sergeant Yu Jae-won, Corporal Hong Min-soo, Corporal Shin Yu-jin, Private Lee Chang-ho, and Private Kim Soo-bin. They were the best Earth had to offer. "How do we get close to an alien ship without being detected?" asked Sergeant Yu. Captain O smiled. "We use their own weakness against them. They expect all attacks to come from warships. They're not watching for individual soldiers." The mission launched at night. The team used a stealth shuttle that looked like space debris. It drifted slowly toward the alien supply ship, using minimal power to avoid detection. The Vorthak ship was huge, designed to carry supplies to conquer worlds. Its hull was covered with docking ports and cargo bays. The human team found an unused maintenance hatch and cut their way inside. "Remember," Captain O whispered into her radio, "we're not here to fight. We're here to steal information and get out." Inside the alien ship, the humans discovered something amazing. The corridors were huge, built for creatures much larger than humans. The lighting was dim and red, which made it hard for human eyes to see. But there was something else. The ship was not designed for defense against borders. The Vorthak had never fought an enemy that could sneak onto their ships. "No security cameras in the corridors," reported Corporal Hong Min-soo. "No locked doors, no guards. They're not prepared for infiltration." The team reached the computer center without being detected. The alien computers were massive, with displays showing information about the entire Vorthak Empire. Tech specialist Quan Deho had taught them how to access alien systems. Captain O connected her portable computer to the Vorthak network and began downloading everything. What she found was shocking. The Vorthak Empire controlled 847 star systems with over 200 conquered species, but the files revealed something important. Most of the conquered species were still alive. They worked as slaves, but they had not been exterminated. "Look at this," whispered Private Kim Soo-bin. "There are billions of enslaved creatures throughout the galaxy. Humans aren't the first to resist, but we're the first to win a battle." Captain O copied the tactical databases, ship designs, and communication codes, but the most valuable information was the psychological profiles of conquered species. They study every species they conquer, she realized. They learn their weaknesses and use them, but they have no profile for humans because we're the first to fight back. The mission was almost complete when Sergeant Yu detected movement in the corridor. "Contact. 3 aliens approaching." The team hid in an equipment room as 3 Vorthak technicians walked past. The aliens were talking in their own language, but the human translators picked up some words. "Impossible, humans, losses, High Command angry." After the aliens passed, Captain O's team finished their mission and escaped the same way they entered. The Vorthak never knew humans had been aboard their ship. Back on Earth, the stolen information was analyzed by intelligence teams around the planet. What they discovered changed everything. General Bae Sung-min called an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. "We've learned something incredible about the Vorthak Empire. It's not as strong as we thought." He showed them holographic displays of the alien empire. "They have conquered hundreds of species, but they rule through fear, not loyalty. Most of their soldiers are forced conscripts from conquered worlds. Admiral Park G1 studied the data. So their own army is full of slaves who hate them? Exactly, General Bay confirmed. And here's the important part. Many of these species have military traditions. They know how to fight. But they've been forced to fight for the Empire instead of against it. Dr. Kim Hae-rin was examining the psychological profiles. Look at these species. The Catraxi were warriors before being conquered. The Delphians had a powerful navy. The Crystari were master strategists. The Empire has an army of potential rebels. President Ryu Jae-sung understood immediately. If these species knew that resistance was possible, they might join us, Admiral Park finished. We could turn the Empire's own soldiers against them. The plan that emerged was bold and dangerous. Earth would make contact with the enslaved species and offer them something the Vorthak had never given them: hope. Ambassador Shin Woo-jin was chosen to lead the diplomatic mission. He was young but skilled at languages and negotiation. His job was to find a way to communicate with potential allies. We can't use normal radio transmissions, Ambassador Shin explained to his team. The Vorthak monitor all communications. We need to find another way. The solution came from tech specialist Kwon Dae-ho. We can use the alien computer network against them. I've learned how to access their system from the data Captain O stole. We can send messages that look like normal Empire communications. The first message was sent to a Catraxi work camp on a mining world. The Catraxi were bird-like creatures with natural flying ability. Before conquest, they had been fierce aerial warriors. The message was simple. The humans of Earth have defeated Vorthak forces in battle. Resistance is possible. We offer friendship and alliance to all who desire freedom. The response came 3 days later. It was hidden in routine supply requests, but Ambassador Shin's team decoded it immediately. We remember freedom, the message said. We remember war. We remember victory. Teach us to fight again. Similar messages began arriving from across the galaxy. The aquatic Delphians, the silicon-based Crystari, the industrial Grethek, and dozens of other species sent secret communications to Earth. Each species had the same question: how do we resist? Earth's answer was always the same: together. Captain Lee Min-gyu was chosen to command Earth's first deep space mission. His ship, the Soul, was built with the best human and captured alien technology. Its mission was to make direct contact with rebel species. We're not going to start a war, Captain Lee explained to his crew. We're going to start a revolution. The Soul slipped out of Earth's solar system using a captured Vorthak stealth device. Its destination was the Catraxi homeworld, where millions of bird-like aliens worked as slaves in Vorthak factories. The journey took 2 weeks. During that time, the crew studied everything they could about Catraxi culture and psychology. They learned that the Catraxi valued honor, courage, and freedom above all else. When the Soul arrived at the Catraxi homeworld, Captain Lee was amazed by what he saw. The planet was beautiful, with floating cities and aerial highways designed for flying creatures. But now it was covered with ugly Vorthak factories and mining operations. It's like they've turned paradise into a prison, said Dr. Hong Subin, the ship's xenopsychologist. The humans made contact with Catraxi resistance leaders using the codes Ambassador Shin had developed. The meeting took place in secret, in an abandoned Catraxi temple high in the mountains. Flight leader Cathara was the leader of the Catraxi resistance. She was tall and graceful, with feathers that shimmered blue and gold. Her people had been slaves for 50 years, but they had never forgotten how to fight. We heard that humans defeated the Vorthak in battle, Cathara said through the translator. We thought this was impossible. Many things are impossible until someone does them, Captain Lee replied. We came to offer you weapons, training, and hope. What do you want in return? Cathara asked suspiciously. The Vorthak also made promises when they arrived. The galaxy was burning with rebellion. On world after world, enslaved species rose up against their Vorthak masters. The empire that had ruled through fear for centuries was now facing coordinated resistance on hundreds of fronts. On the Catraxi homeworld, flight leader Cathara led her people in aerial attacks against Vorthak installations. The bird-like aliens used their natural flying ability to strike fast and disappear into the clouds. Target the communication towers first, she ordered her squadron as they dove toward a Vorthak military base. Without communications, they cannot coordinate their defense. The Catraxi had learned human tactics well. Instead of fighting honorable duels in the sky, they used hit-and-run attacks, sabotage, and guerrilla warfare. The Vorthak forces, designed for conquering helpless primitives, could not adapt to fighting an enemy that refused to stand still. On the ocean world of Delphia, the aquatic Delphians used their submarines to attack Vorthak ships. Fleet Commander Aquos Nell had been a slave for 30 years, but he still remembered how to fight. The humans taught us that surprise is better than strength, he told his submarine crews. We will show the Vorthak that the seas belong to us. The Delphian attack submarines were old and primitive, compared to Vorthak technology, but they could hide in the deep ocean trenches where alien sensors could not find them. When Vorthak ships passed overhead, the submarines would rise from the depths and strike without warning. On the crystal world of Christos, the silicon-based Crystari used their natural ability to merge with rock and metal to sabotage Vorthak mining operations from within. Thought leader Shardman could communicate with other Crystari through harmonic vibrations that the Vorthak could not detect. His people had been forced to mine precious crystals for the Empire, but now they turned those same crystals into weapons. Let the oppressors learn that their tools can become their destruction, Shardman vibrated to his followers. The humans have shown us that even the weakest can triumph if they fight together. But the most important rebellion was happening on Grethik Prime, the industrial heart world where the gentle Grethik had been forced to build weapons for the Vorthak Empire. Work leader Softclaw had spent his entire life assembling alien warships. But now, following instructions transmitted from Earth, he and his fellow workers were making subtle changes to their construction. A bolt loosened here, a circuit crossed there, Softclaw explained to his trusted workers. The ships will work perfectly until they enter battle. Then they will fail at the worst possible moment. The Grethik sabotage was invisible to Vorthak inspectors, but it was incredibly effective. Across the galaxy, Vorthak ships were beginning to malfunction during combat. Weapons misfired, shields failed, and engines shut down without warning. On Earth, General An Mi Kyung was coordinating the pan-galactic resistance from a hidden command center in the Rocky Mountains. She had been promoted to lead all resistance activities after proving her skills at organizing complex military operations. We now have active resistance movements on 347 worlds, she reported to Earth's leadership. The Vorthak are fighting rebellions on every front. Admiral Park Ji-won studied the galaxy-wide tactical display. Red dots showed Vorthak forces, blue dots showed human ships, and green dots showed allied resistance movements. For the first time, the green dots outnumbered the red ones. The Empire is overextended, she observed. They're trying to fight everywhere at once, and they don't have enough ships or soldiers. Ambassador Shin Woo-jin had established permanent diplomatic channels with over 50 alien species. His communication network allowed resistance groups to coordinate their attacks and share intelligence. The Crystari have discovered a major Vorthak fleet base, he reported. The Catraxi can provide air support if we attack it. The Delphians can block their retreat by sea. What about human forces? Asked General An. Captain Lee Mingyu's task force is already in position, Ambassador Shin replied. The Soul and 3 escort ships are ready to join the attack. The Battle of Nexus Prime became the first major victory of the combined resistance. Nexus Prime was a heavily fortified world that served as a regional command center for the Vorthak Empire. The attack began when Crystari saboteurs disabled the planet's defensive shields. Catraxi fighters then swept in to destroy the orbital defense platforms. Delphian submarines emerged from the planet's oceans to attack Vorthak naval forces. Captain Lee Mingyu's human task force provided the final blow, using Earth's superior tactics to outmaneuver the confused Vorthak fleet. They don't know which enemy to fight first, Captain Lee observed as his ships sliced through the alien formation. They're used to facing one species at a time. The battle lasted only 6 hours. When it was over, Nexus Prime was free and the Vorthak regional fleet was destroyed. The victory sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. More importantly, it proved that the Alliance could win major battles against the Empire. On the Vorthak throne world of Vorthkar, Supreme Commander Gorthak was receiving reports that grew worse each day. His empire was crumbling from within and he was powerless to stop it. How many worlds have we lost? He demanded of his staff. 47 worlds are in open rebellion, reported his intelligence chief. 60 more show signs of resistance activity, and our industrial production has dropped by 30% due to sabotage. Strategic Commander Vekthal entered the throne room with grim news. "My lord, we have intercepted communications from the human world. They are planning something called Liberation Day." "What is Liberation Day?" Gorthak asked. "A coordinated attack on every major Vorthak installation in the galaxy," Vekthal replied. "Every resistance group will strike at the same time. It will be the largest military operation in galactic history." Gorthak's red eyes burned with rage. "One primitive world has turned our entire empire against us." "How is this possible?" "The humans fight differently than any species we have encountered," Vekthal explained. "They do not seek to conquer or rule. They fight only to be free, and they teach others to do the same." "Then we will destroy their world completely," Gorthak decided. "Assemble every ship in the Empire. We will end this rebellion by eliminating its source." But as the Vorthak prepared their ultimate attack on Earth, they discovered a problem. Their own military was no longer reliable. On ships throughout the Empire, Gretek-built components were beginning to fail. Enslaved crew members were committing sabotage. Even some Vorthak officers were questioning whether the Empire was worth preserving. Captain Thekmanor, a young Vorthak officer, spoke for many when he privately contacted his commander. "Sir, I have studied the humans' military history. They have fought wars among themselves for thousands of years. They know warfare better than we do. Are you suggesting we cannot defeat them?" his commander asked. "I am suggesting that we have never fought a real war," Thekmanor replied. "We have only conquered helpless victims. The humans and their allies are not helpless." Meanwhile, on Earth, President Ryu Jae-sung was addressing the planet's population in preparation for the final battle. "People of Earth," he said from the steps of the United Nations building in New York, "we stand at the threshold of either victory or destruction. The Vorthak Empire is gathering its remaining forces for one last attack on our world." The crowds that filled the streets of every major city listened in silence. "We could have avoided this by surrendering 2 years ago," President Ryu continued. "We could have lived as slaves under alien masters. Instead, we chose to fight for our freedom, and that choice has inspired an entire galaxy to rebel." He paused, looking up at the sky where alien ships might soon appear. "In a few days, the largest fleet in galactic history will arrive to destroy us, but they will not find us alone. They will find us standing with allies from across the galaxy, all united by a simple idea, that freedom is worth any price." The crowd erupted in cheers, but President Ryu raised his hand for silence. "If we fall, others will continue the fight. If we survive, we will help build a galaxy where no species kneels to another. Either way, the empire that expected obedience has found something they never anticipated, a universe full of people who refuse to bow." As Liberation Day approached, resistance groups across the galaxy prepared for coordinated strikes against Vorthak installations. The plan was ambitious beyond imagination. Simultaneous attacks on over 500 targets spread across hundreds of worlds. General An Mi-kyung coordinated the timing from Earth's command center. "Phase 1 begins when the Vorthak fleet attacks Earth," she explained to resistance leaders. "While they're focused on us, you hit every major target in your sectors." Flight leader Cathara of the Catraxi understood the plan's brutal logic. "The humans are using themselves as bait to draw the Empire's attention." "It's what we do best," Admiral Park Ji-won replied over the communication link. "We've been fighting impossible odds for so long, we've gotten good at it." Fleet Commander Aquasnell of the Delphians was more direct. "You are sacrificing your world to free the galaxy." "We're not sacrificing anything," Admiral Park corrected. "We're going to win. The question is whether the Empire will have anything left to rule after we're done with them." The final pieces were falling into place. Earth's defenses were ready. The resistance network was armed and coordinated. The largest fleet in galactic history emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. Over 3,000 Vorthak ships stretched across space like a metal storm cloud. Supreme Commander Gorthak himself led the armada aboard the massive flagship Empire's Wrath. "Today we end the human rebellion," Gorthak declared to his fleet. "Today we restore order to the galaxy." But as the Vorthak fleet approached Earth, they discovered they were not facing the same small human defense force they had fought before. The space around Earth was filled with ships from dozens of different species. Fleet Admiral Park Tae-young commanded the combined defense fleet from the bridge of the new Earth flagship Liberation. Beside him stood General An Mi-kyung, who had been promoted to lead all Allied forces. "Admiral, we're detecting Catraxi fighter wings, Delphian submarines, Crystari battlecruisers, and ships from at least 30 other species," reported the tactical officer. "They came to fight beside us." Admiral Park smiled grimly. The Empire expected to find Earth alone. Instead, they found the entire galaxy waiting for them. The battle for Earth began when the Vorthak fleet opened fire with their massive weapons. Energy beams capable of destroying cities lanced across space toward the Allied fleet. But the human ships moved like dancers, spinning and weaving through the alien fire. The Catraxi fighters flew in patterns that seemed to defy physics. The Delphian ships dove and surfaced through space like they were swimming through water. "They fight like animals," complained War Commander Thexor from his destroyer. "There is no order, no formation." "That's because they're not trying to look impressive," replied his tactical officer, who had studied human military philosophy. "They're trying to win." Captain Li Dongwu was back in command of the Incheon, leading Earth's heavy cruisers against the alien battleships. His ship had been rebuilt with captured Vorthak technology and weapons designed by allied species. "Target their command ship," he ordered. "If we can take out their leader, the rest might surrender." But reaching the Empire's wrath meant fighting through layers of escort ships. The human cruisers punched forward while Catraxi fighters cleared the way, and Crystari ships provided covering fire. Lieutenant Yoon Sora, now promoted to squadron leader, led the final assault on the Vorthak flagship. Her fighters moved in a complex pattern that confused the alien gunners. "Remember," she told her pilots, "we're not trying to destroy the ship. We're trying to capture their leader alive." The human fighters swarmed over the Empire's wrath like angry insects, disabling its weapons and engines. When the great ship was helpless, boarding shuttles launched from the Liberation Dao. President Ryu Jae-sung himself led the boarding party, accompanied by representatives from every allied species. They wanted Supreme Commander Gorthak to see that the entire galaxy had united against his empire. The boarding action was swift and brutal. Human soldiers trained in close combat overwhelmed Vorthak defenders who had never fought boarding actions before. Within an hour, they had captured the alien command center. Supreme Commander Gorthak was brought before President Ryu in chains. The alien leader looked around at the mixed group of humans and aliens who had defeated him. "This is impossible," Gorthak said weakly. "You are all primitives. You should not be able to defeat the Empire." "You keep using that word," President Ryu replied. "Primitive. But you never understood what it means." He gestured to the diverse group around him. "These species you call primitive built their own civilizations. They created art, music, philosophy, and technology. They had lives and dreams and hopes before you conquered them." Gorthak stared at the human leader. "You are all inferior species. The strong should rule the weak." "The strong do rule," President Ryu agreed. "But strength isn't about having bigger ships or more powerful weapons. Real strength comes from choosing to fight for something bigger than yourself." Ambassador Shin Woo-jin stepped forward with a communication device. "Supreme Commander, perhaps you should see what's happening in the rest of your empire." The device showed images from across the galaxy. On world after world, Vorthak installations were under attack. Resistance forces that had been coordinating their efforts for months were striking simultaneously. On the Catraxi homeworld, flight leader Kethara led her people in liberating their floating cities. The bird-like aliens had reclaimed their skies and were driving the Vorthak garrison from the planet. On Delphia, Fleet Commander Aquosnell's submarines had destroyed every Vorthak ship in the system. The aquatic aliens were free to swim in their own oceans again. On Christos, thought leader Shardman and his people had merged with the planet's crystal networks to take control of all Vorthak technology. The silicon-based aliens were using the Empire's own weapons against them. Most devastating of all, on Grethek Prime, work leader Softclaw had led his people in shutting down the Empire's main weapon factories. Without new ships and arms, the Vorthak could not continue fighting. "Your empire is finished," Ambassador Shin told Gorthak. "Your fleets are scattered or destroyed. Your industrial worlds have rebelled. Your slaves have become free peoples again." Gorthak watched his empire collapse in real time. Hundreds of worlds were throwing off Vorthak rule. The fear that had held the galaxy in chains for centuries was finally broken. "What do you want from me?" Gorthak asked, his voice hollow with defeat. "We want you to order all remaining Vorthak forces to surrender," President Ryu replied. "The war is over," Your people can choose to join the new galactic community, or they can return to their homeworld and live in peace. And if I refuse? General An Mi-kyung spoke for the first time. Then the war continues until every Vorthak military installation is destroyed. But your people don't have to die for your empire. Give them a chance to live free. Gorthak looked around at his captors. These were the primitives who had destroyed his mighty empire. They had turned his own slaves against him, outfought his fleets, and broken the power that had ruled the galaxy for centuries, and now they were offering mercy to their defeated enemies. I do not understand you, he admitted. If I were in your position, I would execute all Vorthak leaders and enslave your people. That's why you lost, President Ryu said simply. You never understood that free people fight harder than slaves. The surrender ceremony took place on the liberated world of Nexus Prime, where representatives from hundreds of species gathered to witness the end of the Vorthak Empire. Supreme Commander Gorthak, flanked by the few Vorthak officers who had survived the final battle, formally dissolved the Empire and ordered all military forces to lay down their arms. The galactic hegemony is ended, he declared in a voice heavy with defeat. All conquered worlds are free to govern themselves. But the humans and their allies had a surprise for the galaxy. Instead of each species returning to isolation, they proposed something revolutionary. Ambassador Shin Woo-jin addressed the assembly. We did not fight this war to replace one empire with another. We fought to ensure that every species has the right to choose its own destiny. He gestured to the diverse crowd of beings from across the galaxy. But we have learned that we are stronger together than apart. Therefore, Earth proposes the formation of a galactic confederation. The proposal was simple but radical, a voluntary alliance where each species maintained complete independence while cooperating for mutual benefit. No species would rule over others. Decisions would be made by consensus, not force. Flight leader Cathara of the Catraxi was the first to respond. The humans taught us to fight for freedom. Now they offer us friendship. The Catraxi accept this proposal. One by one, species after species agreed to join the Confederation. Even some Vorthak colonies chose to participate, seeking to make amends for their empire's crimes. Dr. Kim Hai-rin, now Director of Interspecies Relations, explained the Confederation's principles to the Assembly. No species will be forced to join. No member will be compelled to fight in wars they do not support. But together, we can explore the galaxy, share knowledge, and ensure that no empire ever again enslaves free peoples. The ceremony concluded with the signing of the Galactic Confederation Charter. Representatives from 200 species added their names to the document that would govern interstellar relations for generations to come. 6 months later, Admiral Park Ji-won stood on the observation deck of the Confederation's new headquarters station, watching ships from dozens of different worlds coming and going in peaceful trade and diplomacy. Captain Lee Dong-woo joined her at the viewport. Do you think it will last? He asked. The Confederation? Admiral Park considered the question. It will face challenges. There will be disagreements, conflicts, maybe even wars. But it will survive because it's built on a simple principle. Free people choose to work together. The Vorthak built their empire on fear, Captain Lee observed. We built ours on hope. We didn't build an empire, Admiral Park corrected gently. We built something better. A community where everyone has a voice and no one kneels to anyone else. In the months that followed, former Vorthak worlds began to rebuild. Some chose isolation. Others joined the Confederation. The Vorthak homeworld itself became a peaceful member, led by former officers who had learned the value of freedom. Thekminor, the young Vorthak captain who had questioned the Empire, became his people's first ambassador to the Confederation.